Do you think in 5 years we're going to be even using transformers?
I think transformers are still useful. I think what we'll get to is we'll get to the point where we'll use transformers, but they're going to be much smaller. They're going to be the 5 to 15 billion parameters just to process and parse text data.
Mm.
It's really good for that.
Welcome to Practical AI, everybody. My name's Jeff. I'm here with Peter Lynn. We are in our second season of Practical AI, and we continue to be sponsored by Pocket AI. Pocket AI is a tool that you can use to edit the weights of your model. With Pocket AI, you can prune over 60% of the weights of your model without losing any accuracy. Peter, the topic today is kind of a broad but specific one, and that is the road to superintelligence, or AGI. And it seems that the classic or the most recent, everyone's excited about transformers, ChatGPT. It seems like the steam is running out of these as mechanisms to single-handedly get us to superintelligence. So we've got a little video we can share here while we're talking, but tell us a little bit about what sort of the community is sort of saying behind the scenes about where we are and where we're going.
Yeah, so basically it boils down to this. Google, OpenAI, Microsoft, Anthropic have all seen that training bigger and bigger transformers in the pre-training part has basically plateaued, meaning that between GPT-2 and 3, it was significantly better. And then between 3 and 4, it was better. Between 4 and 5, they're finding that, that scaling now has slowed down. It's not improving as much. And what that means is beyond 5, if you increase the size and the data for GPT-6, you're not going to get the same level of improvement. You're going to get very marginal improvement.
The amount of one of the problems in this graph that we're showing right here is that the amount of energy and data and parameters that go into GPT-4 versus GPT-5 is like not commensurate with the results, right?
Yep, exactly. Yep. So that means that the next innovation then is, what do you
Of course,
do
the reason.
on that?
Okay.
And so right now everyone's thinking if you prompt engineer it. So for example, with OpenAI's O1, they built in prompt engineering. So you're still using the basic pre-trained model, but now you're using prompt engineering to get better results.
Okay, and there's sort of this in the video. We'll share this in the discussion box, but this notion that this is pretty common where innovation, kind of plateaus and or your marks, and then you kind of have to kind of restart, retool, rethink, add something else, subtract something, and that's where innovation happens. And then you have the next one. What I thought was somewhat interesting is that this opinion was
Mhm.
essentially that O1 was the beginning of another, you know, curve here, which essentially, as we talked about in a prior thing, uh, it's prompt engineering baked into your solution, right? So, but it's still using transformers. And so that's one of the questions that I would have is do you think that there's that much juice to squeeze out of a transformer plus prompt engineering model, or do you think we have to add some other technologies in here in order to get there?
I'm on the side of Jan LeCun and people that are skeptical that you actually need a new architecture to encode reasoning, because right now it doesn't seem like it's actually encoding reasoning. And for that fact, that means that it actually isn't generalizing to data it has never seen.
And we kind of showed that yesterday a little bit, or last time with a discussion about the video, and it's
Right.
basically memorizing instances and patterns
Yep.
and isn't able to even, generalize basic things that should
Yep.
be pretty straightforward.
Right. Like for example, in programming, if you feed it a bunch of programs that all have the same structure, right, it works fine. But the minute I ask it something like, give me piece of code that does this functionality, but in this different order that's never seen before, it just barfs out. It literally just gives you garbage.
Because it's
It's not
memorized all the other prior examples.
right. And so it's memorized the existing structures that it's seen, the patterns. And so if I tell it, I want to parse this, let's say, piece of data, but I want to do it in this particular order, which is different than how it's seen. All right. It'll go through and it'll be like, well, here's how you parse it using what it's seen before, but like it's not what I asked it.
Do you think in 5 years we're going to be even using transformers?
I think transformers are still useful. I think what we'll get to is we'll get to the point where we'll use transformers, but they're going to be much smaller. They're going to be the 5 to 15 billion parameters just to process and parse text data.
Mm.
It's really good for that. But then what you feed is you take that output into some other system that actually has reasoning and logic, and then that is the part that actually then generalizes stuff. Because one fundamental thing is, like I've asked ChatGPT the same question 8 different ways and got 8 different answers, and half of them are wrong. When in essence, it's the same question that I'm asking. So this goes back to the previous conversations where if people change the variables, like the names and the labels or the numbers, it gets the math problem wrong because it's like, well, I haven't seen this before. Well, then clearly you're not understanding this is the same problem.
Yeah. So it's possible that in 5 to 10 years, the transformer part of the solution will kind of act as sort of the memory side, the pattern recognition side, the ability to collate and like process stuff, but the reasoning and the generalized like thinking outside of that box will be a different system, a different part of the architecture.
That's my guess, but no one knows. Yeah.
Okay. Super fascinating, and it's going to be fun to watch this, and probably some of the wars that are going to take place between people that have very, very strong opinions about this stuff, right?
It'll be fun.
Yeah. All right, Peter, good talk. We'll answer any questions that you have. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff, and we'll post that video in the chat. Take care, everybody.